Well, Europe correspondent Phillip Williams is in Cannes, where the G20 have been meeting, and he joins us now. Phil, now all eyes are on Greece, given the talk fest there has ended, hasn't it?
Yes, and look, what's happening right now in Greece is that Parliament is sitting. George Papandreou, the Prime Minister, is expected to address the Parliament probably in about half an hour or so. A number of MPs have elected to speak. This is for the no confidence motion. He can not necessarily count on all of his MPs to support him, and he's only got a majority of 2. So if a couple decide not to vote or vote against him, then effectively that government is finished. There'll be, we would assume, new elections. Even if he does scrape through, there's a lot of speculation about a unity government having to be formed to give some semblance of authority to the government after what's been a very torrid week when we've seen so much turmoil, and it's affected so many people, not just in Greece but also here at the G20. Now, on the G20 itself, Julia Gillard, of course, there, and it's just finished. And, of course, the Europeans particularly were inviting those non-Europeans to, if you feel like it, feel free to contribute to our pot, because we need all the money we can get. Didn't get many takers, perhaps none at all. And this is what Julia Gillard had to say about Europe's problems.
The outcome is consistent with my strongly held views that Europe needs to get its own house in order, but equally the rest of the world has a role to play in shoring up the global financial system.
That is the Prime Minister. And Phil, Julia Gillard would have been pleased, though, that her push for increased funding for the International Monetary Fund has been agreed to.
Yes, it has, and she found support, particularly from Barack Obama, on that. One caveat, though, is there's no figures placed on that. That'll be worked out at a meeting as late as February next year. Now, will world events wait for that meeting? She did hint that if necessary, that meeting could happen earlier than that. But that's when the finance ministers will get together. Wayne Swan will be involved in that and work out who pays how much. And then we'll really know just how far that can go. But for the moment, at least, there is at least some optimism amongst the G20 that we have some way, at least a somewhat path forward through the IMF to prevent this sort of contagion spreading to other nations. And here's what she had to say on the IMF.
Leaders have come together and said that they stand together, ready to provide additional resources to the IMF. Finance ministers, that in our parlance means the Treasurer Wayne Swan, will come together with his counterparts in February or potentially earlier to focus on that question of additional resourcing.
And Phil, the PM has revealed that Australia is going to host a G20 meeting in 2014.
Yes, absolutely. It's a bit of a coup for her, for Australia, and she sees this as a great opportunity to showcase the country, promote a bit of business and tourism, and of course running the big show. And whether or not she's Prime Minister then, who only somebody up there knows perhaps, but she'll be hoping to be there, no doubt. But here's how she announced that a couple of hours ago.
I'm very proud to announce that Australia will host the G20 in 2014. This is a significant opportunity for Australia, and it's a recognition of our economic strength and leadership. It will bring world leaders and business leaders to Australia at a time when our economy is the envy of the world.
So, Phil, how would you sum up the feelings there at the end of the G20 meeting? Is it of optimism, or is uncertainty still the key word?
I think uncertainty very much the key word, even though, yes, there has been some progress, certainly some more pressure from the non-EU G20 members to get their house in order. It really isn't in order, and as we speak right now, of course, that disorder on display in the Greek Parliament. We still don't know how that's going to play out. So a great deal of uncertainty. The solutions found here, the communique not seen as particularly strong, and of course some great disappointment on NGOs' parts. Organisations like World Vision who said, look, what about the world's poorest? What about the neediest? You've basically ignored them. You've put all your resources and concentrated on Greece and pouring billions in there. Those billions could have done enormous good elsewhere in the world, but yet they've been sort of more or less sidelined, or at least they see it that way. But Greece is the word, and we await to find out which government we may be dealing with and which way they'll jump on the bailout and the whole Eurozone crisis.
OK, Phillip Williams in Cairn, thanks very much.
Thanks, Andrew.